Welcome back. And those just tuning in, we just finished up our matchup between the Grey Knights and the Death Guard. With the final score, Grey Knights 89 to a Death Guard 64, breaking the losing streak. It was February, must have been, or this new year. I mean, this new
2025.
Year rough.
Listen, 2025 is not going great for anybody.
No, unless you're an Eldar player.
Right.
But here we go. Grey Knights, very, very infantry heavy list. No Dread Knights in here, and let's talk about this a bit. I personally really liked this. I liked the fact that I had more units to do secondaries with.
Mm-hmm.
I had a lot late in the game, even though at some other points I could have lost some units and you could have had some board presence. I still had wide coverage, and I was still able to keep the scoreboard moving late into the game. I mean, going second is always a Grey Knight's best friend. Every single time.
Absolutely.
But I definitely Purifiers smack real good. Death Guard are annoying with, oh, by the way, now you're a 3-up save. Welcome back to Marine category.
Yeah, Grey Knights don't like that so much.
No, that's definitely one thing that is really difficult when playing into Death Guard, is to play into that on top of playing into your fight first, which was constantly like, that was the dance I had to go around to be able to do damage, was your fight first. So I enjoyed this. Lane, you have some reservations though with vehicle lists you're talking about.
Yeah, the Grey Knight, the Purifiers have the ability to do damage into vehicles, but only one at a time, really, because you need that wound reroll. Or you need to be below half strength, and you can't really control if you're below half strength.
No,
you can control and really get into one vehicle at a time by getting the wound rerolls. I think the Dread Knights obviously do better into vehicles, just a higher strength gun and then a higher damage on their close combat as well. So I think if you run into an all vehicle list with this, it's gonna hurt you a little bit. It's gonna be tough for you to chew through. Of course, you'll be durable into it as well. So,
and it's a lot of MSU. That's one thing. Is like with the Dread Knights, I had 3 Dread Knights, no Land Raider, two other Purge, and a 5-man of Purifier.
Mm-hmm.
So I get the 2 bigger Purifier bricks, which are pretty much what this entire army runs around. And I mean, those guys alone just do so much good damage. I mean, it was really like an investment that you had to remove them when you did, because otherwise, once they start rolling,
you pretty much just hit with every shot you take.
Yeah,
it's like if you have 30 attacks, you might miss with 1 or 2. You know, so you're not really missing very much at all with full rerolls all the time on Purifiers. So that's something you can absolutely rely on. Even on times when I tried to make pop either smoke or a cloud of flies, it just didn't work. Just didn't really slow down the damage output much at all.
Yeah, and that's it. That's kind of where I look at into that vehicle thing. Is like you're saying, is like when we start talking about those vehicles, I got to put it on the table to see the parts of it, because there are some vehicles that have that little bit of lower toughness, where I can just do what I did early in the game, put everything into a corner and pour it into a spot, and with Grey Knights, pick up and get out of that corner and start moving into other areas.
You definitely have that flexibility of being able to move the Land Raider up, get a couple units out, and then obviously your uppy downies with a bunch of units meant that turn 1, even on turn 1, you were still able to just throw a bunch of stuff around the table and give you that ability to go where you wanted to go.
Yeah. So I mean, I hear your reservations, so we'll have to definitely try that here soon with going into vehicle heavy lists. I know that like when we talk about Custodes, okay? The nice thing is for me, any infantry that Custodes have, you know this as well, the anti-infantry aspect, I can take them apart. The bikes would be a little rough because they're a little bit higher toughness, but the side cannons do pretty well in them, because what's their toughness? T7? T6 or T7 on the bikes?
7, yeah.
T7 on the bike, so I'm able to get by them, so I can at least burn that stuff and then get us to the point of just things like the Caladius tanks and try to figure out what I can do into those. With the Dread Knights, sure, I can land and shoot with them, but the last couple games, man, they're down in 1 turn. And they're just gone. And with this, it was like when the reason I picked that Black Purge squad as my mark for death was I did not want the Death Guard coming this way. And I thought if I picked them, that would hopefully make you commit to them with the Death Shrouds and then pull them that way and pull them away from the game, because I was like, I can't do anything about the Death Shrouds. If they get to the middle, I'm in trouble. And so, I mean, that was what I was hoping for, and I'm glad it worked. I don't know how it would have went the other way. They probably would have gotten the center and just held center, so it probably would have went the opposite. My Land Raider would have lived, your Land Raider would have lived. So I think it just more or less in the end means both our Land Raiders would have lived instead of going down the way they did, and we both lost our Land Raiders. I was happy with what the Crusader did. It did a ton of damage, taking out the Rhino, taking out Typhus, just damage here, damage there on the Terminators. I was impressed with it. I liked it, especially for 220 points and the durability that it brings that the Dread Knights really can't. And that's kind of where my concern is, just with the durability that the Dread Knights can't bring. So it's just like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to the MSU. I have infinite units to just throw on the board and score points. And in this matchup, that worked out really well, because as we got to the late game, your resources were stuck. My resources were still able to move, and I could just go wherever I wanted and banish out of it. So, so it sounds like the vehicles is where your concern is right now with this. You're concerned that I don't have enough to be able to keep the board control like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be a challenge, but it's a challenge we should put on the channel probably to see what. I guess the question is what vehicle list, because I can run a bunch of different vehicles. I can run Chaos Knights, Imperial Knights. I can do all Marines. I have a lot of different options I can do. Custodes vehicles. God, what else? The Votann vehicles. I can do a ton of Votann vehicles. There's a lot that I could do. So I guess, give us some comments here. What do you think would be a good test? For those of the armies that I play, whether it's Marines, Custodes, Imperial Knights, Chaos Knights, even Votann vehicle heavy list, what would be a tough challenge for the list that DJ ran today?
Yes, because I will run this exact same list. We'll probably do that in 2 weeks, because next week we got something kind of special, something kind of unique, something interesting. Well, next week we say Monday. We're going to be going back to our Monday schedules here. We just had some stuff, families and family fun and activities during the cold winter months. We picked the wrong months to do vacations in. Right. But yeah, we're going to be going back to our Monday schedules. Just had some times, did some stuff, and now we're back at it, getting ready to hopefully get me out to a GT this summer once the babies decide they actually want to sleep at night. Which I'm going to end this with a funny thing that I was thinking this week. You know how everyone says, "Oh, I slept like a baby"?
Yeah, they don't really sleep.
They don't really realize the fact that you say you slept like a baby. I look at you and go, so what, were you screaming and crying and need a pacifier all night and constantly needed someone to rock you to sleep? Because in which case, I don't really want that style of sleep. I'd like to just do it myself. So
yeah, my youngest didn't sleep through the night until she was 3.5. It was a rough 3.5 years.
And this is what we say, oh, slept like a baby.
Yeah. Not any babies I know.
Yeah, no, none of my 5. All right, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.